Hi everyone, good morning.
Morning.
Hi. So yeah, hi everyone, good morning. So you can see my screen, right? So I remember last class I was disconnected, I believe. So I am going to start from this chapter, from this part of this chapter, which is 2.3, user interface UI, page 55. This one is going to be short actually, 55 up to the last page. Organization is not here yet. It's okay. So yeah, let me proceed. Okay. So under this one, user interface, menus, notification, and design for everyone. So make apps more accessible. Okay. Accessible is how the user can get into the targeted page or targeted menu. So here, okay, regardless the ability of the user, regardless of ability, user are able to navigate, understand, and use an app successfully. What is meant by ability of user? Okay, so for your information, the user, we have different ability. Okay, maybe you do not know that, but I think some of you are aware. We have different ability. Ability is not as in the ability to read or to get to the page. Okay, I think by the end of this class, I'm going to share with you a video, okay, about the different level of user with different ability. Okay, ability here referring not a normal user like us. Okay, sorry, not a normal user, normal people like us. So here, the common consideration for normal, okay, normal user with the accessibility is navigation, readability, guidance, and feedback. Navigation is, I think we already touched to, navigation is how the user get from maybe the landing page, the main menu, the home page to the other menu. That's example of navigation. And then the readability, how easy for the maybe any information that you display. For example, if you are doing my OKU apps, okay? It's like, yeah, my OKU apps, okay? How easy for your targeted user to read any information that you share or that you display in your application. And then next is guidance and feedback. This part is very important actually for our application because for the first time user, okay, because not everyone is familiar or have experience using our application. So this part is very important to have. Well, actually, if you guys notice, not all application have this part, guidance and feedback. Guidance and feedback is like a menu or a part where the user can get information on how to use the application and then feedback how they're going to send a response to the developer, it's not developer, to the provider of the application. Okay, it's like how they can send feedback or how they can ask if they have any question. Okay, so the first one, accessibility, navigation. So support screen reader by first label UI element. Okay, if we are using any icon or element that are not familiar, that our user are not familiar with, we must label. Okay, for example, the button. Instead of using next symbol, maybe we can apply the wording, the NEXT wording. and then group related content. Make sure you put your icon, for example, it is under the same group. That means it is related to each other. Do not put different button or different icon, different function in the same group because it's going to confuse the user. Okay, so here, as you can see, it's only image button constraint layout. Okay, so this one is about the UI element and the group related content. Next is create easy to follow navigation. Okay, you need to remember this when you design your application, mobile application. Maybe you can apply this to your project or even for your FYP who's doing the mobile application. Okay, try to create application with an easy to follow navigation. That means, okay, for example, even I'm the first time user to your application, at least I can expect or I can predict where this page should be. I mean, from this page, I think I can get to this page. So, yeah, easy to follow navigation. So support keyboard or gesture input. This one is to just get the input from the user. And then avoid having UI elements fade out or disappear after a certain amount of time. Okay, yes, we do have this function actually. That's mean it's like, yes, we do have this function. That's mean after the user click on certain button or certain icon, okay, the element it's like fade out or disappear. Maybe after a few seconds. Let's say I already, okay, let's say I'm from patch A to patch B. So I click one button from patch A, maybe next button, so it will take me to patch B. So in patch B, when I first landed in that patch B, there's like maybe another button. But then after a few seconds, that button is fade out or disappear. Okay. So next, create flat navigation structure. This one you need to remember. Okay, so here we have two structure. Okay, this one is flat, this one is like hierarchical. Okay, not necessary you cannot do this. Okay, you need to know the level. Okay, for example, this one is okay, for example, this one is the your application. Okay, your application. So try to make it at the same level. That means they have the same importance. Okay, instead of you put this second under the first one if it is under the same level. But like I said, not necessary you try to avoid this one. This one is based on the level. Okay, based on the level. Maybe this patch is needed to be under this first level. Okay, so this one is the first level, second, third, and last level. Okay, this is what we call level. So like I said, not necessary you need to avoid it. Sometimes, of course, you need to have this patch, this patch and the dispatch. But this one, it's going to be, I'm not saying that it's going to be complex. However, yeah, this one is considered complex to this one. As you can see here, we only have 2 levels. Instead of this, we have up to 4 level. And then make touch target large. This one is your area, referring to the area. So here minimum size, this one is only the size, and then space between element is this one. Okay, so this one is another concern. Like I mentioned earlier, we have different type of user, right? For some user, they cannot see if it is too small. Okay, so we need to adjust. Is it the term adjust? Resize. We need to resize the size into the, it's not, there's no such thing like perfect, but okay for everyone. Okay, the sizing, yes, you can see, yeah, this is so true, this one. Instead of this one, try to resize to this one. This one is especially important in UI. Okay, this one, this element, the sizing is very important in UI. Between these two, the first one and the second one. The first one have a good UI, user interface compared to this one. And in terms of user experience too, I believe the first one is going to provide good UX. UX is user experience compared to the first one. Some user may have problem with the second one. Next is, this is the example. This is just an example. Okay, you see they have different size here. So index finger fits snugly inside target edge, give visual feedback. Yeah, this one is from the previous slide just now. Okay, like I said, the first one is going to provide or give a better UI and UX compared to the second one. Okay, maybe the user for the second one, second design, they need to like zoom into the patch. Okay, however, this is not a good UX. So here, I think you guys, since we are all the user to our smartphone, okay, we have different type how we hold our phone. However, there's some part in our screen that we touch the most. Okay, we touch the most. So how does the user hold the phone? Okay, we have different way how we hold our phone. So depends on how we hold our phones, because our size sometimes they can it's not sometimes they will, if we enable it they will rotate, right? So they have some part or some area on our screen that we touch the most. So this is the touch zone. Okay, yeah, so this is like the touch zone. So different size, of course they have different touch zone. Okay, this one the easy one, this is the area that we usually touch, but especially for typing it's going to be at the bottom here. Okay, so this one is like an additional information for you guys in designing a mobile application. Well, honestly, we don't really look into this touch zone because we focus on the function or the location or even the UI, yeah, UI design for our mobile application. So this one is gesture navigation. Okay, so this version supports fully gesture-based navigation. So ensure your apps extend content from edge to edge, handle conflicting gesture. Okay, I think you know what is gesture navigation. Okay, gesture navigation, extend content from edge to edge. Okay, so here, value item name. Okay, so here is this one is mobile application. So this one is code. I almost said script. This one is your code for extend content from edge to edge. However, this one is only a sample. Okay, the part for the XML. Next is readability. Okay, readability. Okay, so for mobile application, for any application, if you notice, okay, we have different readability. However, this one, not all have a good readability. That's mean even for lecture note 2, okay, this one I noticed the lecture note that I received, okay, we have I won't say hard, but not good readability. As in, for example, the use of color. I'm not sure if this is the class, but I do remember I mentioned about the use of color. That means they don't use a good combination of color. For example, okay, here provide adequate color contrast. This one blue and yellow. So this one is, they have obvious different, but this one it's only different in gradient. This one is almost yellow. Okay, so don't use yellow on yellow, especially for wording. It's not going to improve the readability. It's going to make it worse. yellow on yellow. People cannot. People still can, but for some user, they cannot see the word, the wording. And then use more than just color to convey information. Okay, the use of color is very important. It is crucial. Okay, in UI, some color they represent some color they represent meaning. So here, going, can go, going. Okay, so you can see the different actually. Use more than just color to convey information. Okay, to tell the user. Like I said, some color is very information. Actually, this one, right? This one is considered okay. Why I say this one is considered okay? Because you see the use of color, green for maybe going and red for cannot go. So this one is considered correct use of color. Yes for green, red for no. Okay, so this one is actually considered as okay. Next, this one, okay, color blindness. That's why I said just now, the use of color. Okay, we can see this in our book for driving license, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so I can only see the first one here clearly. Okay, so that's why test for color blindness, what people with regular visions. Okay, that's why I see this now. That's what I said just now, the use of color. Okay, not all. I believe some of you still can see the other five number here, but some cannot. That's why we have different readability. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So this is the color. Okay, for normal people, green, red, and then this is the what is this? People with this disability see. Okay, different of color. Next, make media content more accessible, easy to access. Okay, so include control for user to pause or stop video and audio file. Okay, that's mean we let the user to have control on what they are doing. So for example, in your assignment, if I'm not mistaken, some of the group, they want to include like a link. If it is a link, then it's okay. The user can have control. But if you want to include a video, maybe a short video, make the user to have control over the content. That's mean you will provide this function, pause or stop. Okay? Pause or stop or even sound to adjust the audio. And then provide transcript or caption. This one, yeah, you might provide this one to transcript or caption if it is too long video or you think the details is too, it is important. Okay, so you may provide this one, but not all video have this function, provide transcript or a caption. However, caption is important. But caption is important to tell what is the videos about. Okay, so that the user have idea what is the videos about. And then the last one is guidance and feedback. Guidance is like user user guide. Yeah, user guide. Guidance is like a user guide. Okay, tell the user. For guidance, you need to know one thing. When you want to prepare like a manual for your application, okay, you cannot expect the user to know even a minor thing. That means that means that when you design your guidance, your manual book, okay, you need to even write a simple information. For example, you have this one login page. Okay, even in the login page, you only have two fields, which is username and password. You need to state that user need to key in username in the username field. User need to key in password in the password field. And for password, if you have some um what For example, the type that the input type of input that the password field accept, you need to state in your guidance too. Like I said, you cannot expect the user to know. Okay, that's the importance of guidance, to guide the user. And then feedback is usually feedback will be at the last page or bottom of your page. Okay, how the user can send information or send back any feedback to the provider of the application. Okay, so make interactive control clear and discoverable, easy to find. And then interactive control have text label. Text label, it's like the wording. Tooltip is like when you hover to that icon, there's something like wording, but it will disappear after you move your cursor. That's what we call as a tooltip. Or a placeholder text to indicate their purpose. Like basically, we need to tell the user, this is the function. This is the function of this button. This is the function of this icon. Okay, for icon, usually people will go with tooltips. So when naming element, be consistent in your terminology throughout your apps. Okay, this one is important too, but this one is common. When we give any, it's not necessarily naming, color, location, okay, make it consistent. So if here you use one wording, for example, no, then make it as no. Don't use no in this patch and then in the next patch you change it into cancel or something. Okay, make it consistent. So here, what is accessibility and why is it important? So what is the main difference between navigation design for desktop and mobile application? What is the main role of the color in UI design? This one already mentioned in this slide, I remember. So identify identify space allocated for content and navigation. Okay, you can see this one they have space, this one is like edge to edge. So the conclusion for this chapter, we have learned about menu, the toolbar, toast, the use of toast, snack bar, and notifications. Okay, the difference of this with almost same purpose to notify, and then the design UI for everyone, and then make apps for make apps more accessible. Okay, so that's the end of this user interface chapter. So if you remember, we have 3 parts for UI. This one will be the last part. So for chapter 2.3, is there any question? If no, no, right? Please raise your hand if no question. Okay, if no, just now I mentioned about a video. I didn't mention about a video, right? Since we are in this topic, okay, I want to share something with you. This one is only for your knowledge, for your knowledge. Okay, for since we are in UI chapter, user interface chapter, for your information, actually, when we want to design a user interface, okay, user interface for here we are in mobile application, so I'll talk about mobile application. When we want to design a UI for mobile application, actually there's another consideration, which is in, I don't remember in which page just now, we have this color. For example, the color just now, okay? We have some people, they are color blindness. Okay, so we need to consider that part. But the color is very basic actually. Okay, some people, there are some researcher actually that are studying about UIs. Maybe you think UI is only UI, HCI, HCI, it's very basic. However, there are some researcher, they are studying, which is they are focusing for some disease. That means they create that mobile application, the user interface purposely or particularly for that one type of disorder. Yeah, disorder, that's the term, disorder. Okay, that's why I said this one is only for your information. So if you remember too, I remember I said in class, I said I'm not into mobile application, but the fact is actually for my study, I'm doing research. for my master and for my PhD, actually I'm doing mobile application. That means I am actually I'm doing research in this UI, user interface, HCI, but I am focusing on autistic people. Autistic is those with neurodevelopmental disorder. That means I need to propose, I'm doing research on the UI for that type of people, okay? So the study, of course, it will be too deep. Actually, it's not easy to create an interface for these people. Okay, so for this one, actually, I found a video. I found this video, but this one is only for your information, so that you know that actually we should have different. I'm not sure in Google, yeah, in the Play Store how many application, but I believe there are some mobile application that developed purposely for this type of people. Like me, I'm going to develop a mobile application for autistic people. So before we move to the next chapter, I pass a link in our message box here, video around 4 minutes. So let's take around 4 minutes to watch this video. But this one is only for your knowledge. Okay, so I think we can watch the video on, okay? So I'll stop presenting my screen. So yeah, let's watch the video first.
There are estimated to be 35 million people in the US with some level of motor impairment. Designing your application to support accessibility services not only opens up your application to these users, but it has the potential to improve your design for everyone. Users with motor impairments have a wide range of conditions, including spinal cord injuries, multiple sclerosis, ALS, cerebral palsy, essential tremor, and Parkinson's. These users may find it difficult to use a touchscreen, particularly if your app relies on small touch targets or complex gestures. Google has developed the accessibility services Switch Access and Voice Access in order to provide these users with alternate means of operating their devices. With Switch Access, users press one or more physical hardware buttons to scan through items on their screen and select the one they want. Voice Access lets users speak their commands to the device in order to tap, scroll, or enter text. OK, Google, start Voice Access. Go home. Open phone. Click 17. Go home. Tap 8. Go back. Swipe right. By keeping a few design considerations in mind, you can radically transform the quality of user interaction between your app and Switch Access and Voice Access. A Switch Access user usually scans the screen from top to bottom, therefore it's a good idea to keep elements on the screen logically organized. Small touch targets can be difficult for users to select, so we recommend that touch targets be at least 48 by 48 dp. In addition, users can have difficulty interacting with touch targets that are closely grouped together. Therefore, we suggest having low-density layouts. Ensure that clickable and long-clickable items are correctly labeled, and that the clickable attribute hasn't been added to any non-clickable items. You can easily try out Switch Access in your own app by going to Settings, Accessibility, Switch Access, opening Switch Access settings, and then by assigning a volume key to act as a switch. You can also use a USB or Bluetooth keyboard. Then, ensure that you can perform every action in the app with the switch. Make sure that each item can be scrolled through and it is clear what each one does. To learn more about switch access or voice access, check out these links at developer.android.com. You should also consider watching our video on developing for users with visual impairments.
So have you watched the video? Have you guys watched the video? So actually the video just now is basically using audio. There's a study using audio. My professor doing that, but I'm not up to that part yet using a video. So actually it's very hard. For your information, it's very hard to tackle the concern of those, I won't say those people, but yeah, for those people. For example, my mobile application, the one I developed, right, for for autistic children, it's not fast enough for them. Okay, so yeah, that's about UI. So now we are moving into mobile application models. Okay. Video by using front cam. Video by using front cam. What do you mean video by using front cam? Yeah. So now let's move into this chapter. Finally, we move on from UI. So mobile application models. So here is actually only the third chapter. Okay, mobile application models. So if you check with our course plan, this one is in week 5. Okay, so here we are, course plan, chapter 3, mobile application models, chapter 3, week 5. Okay, what is mobile application models? Well, mobile application models is actually a graphical representation, how we want to represent our information in graphical. Graphical is not graph, it's like, yeah, how we want to present our information. Okay, so here, this is the objective of this chapter. Okay, so this is the objective of this chapter. These are the objectives. So we have 4. First, explain the concept of an activity. Okay, what is an activity? Okay, from one patch to another patch. And then explain the intent, explain the intent and intent filter. And then explain the life cycle of an activity, and then manage the activity life cycle. So for this chapter, we have 66 page. I don't think, I'm not sure if we can make it by today, but yeah, it's okay. So first, we are going to see what is an activity. Okay, if you see this term, activity is again related to UI. Okay, just now I mentioned the term, how we present our data. Okay, activity is UI. Okay, what the people see or how the people get the information. So the main activity is the first UI. What is it meant by the main activity is the first UI? Is what patch, okay? What patch the user see. So activity is like a process, actually. It is a process. So activity can be started by another activity with the same app or other apps. Okay, like I said, it is a process. So it can be started by another activity within the same or other apps. Okay, again we see this term. This term I already mentioned in the previous chapter. So it must be declared in the manifest file in order for it to be accessible for the system. Again, what is manifest file? Manifest file is a file that contain the metadata. Okay, our file that contain the metadata. So in order for us to execute, to have this function, to have the process, just now I mentioned process, the process we need to declare in our manifest file. So manifest file is consists of our metadata. Yeah, metadata for a group of file. Okay, so here manifest file, our application. So this one is our activity sample. Sorry, example activity. Okay, so here currently I have two example activity and second example activity need to declare in here because this is our metadata file. Okay, so here we have example of function. Okay, activity to stop, to terminate. Yeah, to stop or to terminate our process or our running activity. Like I said, activity or process. So how to stop our running or our running process. So we have finish method to shut down the current process, and then finish activity to shut down a separate activity that was previously started. Oh, my battery, give me a second. So yeah, let's continue. Yeah, so let's continue. Finish activity. Okay, so the first one is now finish function, shut down our current process, and then finish activity to shut down a separate activity that was previously started. That's mean what's the difference between this finish and finish activity? Finish activity is current, and then this finish activity is the previous activity we start before we go to the current activity. That's mean let's say I have two activity at the moment. Okay, the first one I start and then I go to the second activity. Okay, I can terminate this first activity using the first activity if I'm still at the current activity. Okay, so that's the different current and the previous activity or previous process. So each time a new activity start, the previous activity is stopped, but the system preserve the activity in a stack. What is a stack? Stack is like a process. Stack is like we arrange our, here we are using activity. So just now, right, I mentioned about we have two activity. So I start my first activity and then I go to the second activity. Actually, this second activity is arranged. This one is only for explanation. This second activity is arranged on the top of the first activity just now. That's what we call stack. If I have three activity, then the third one will be on the top of the second one. So here is the process last in, first out. That's been the last process. Just now I have three activity already. So the last process start, the last activity that I start is going to be the last process, the first process that will be out. It is in stack. That means I think we have an example letter. What is stack? And I think you know what is stack too. So user press the back button. So the current activity is popped from the stack and the previous activity resume. Okay, that's mean this one. Yeah. So currently, like I said, I have three activity. This is what we call stack. So first, this is my activity, activity one. Okay, my main activity. So it is in a stack. So stack is actually we arrange one on the other. So here my activity two is on the top of my my first activity just now. And then suddenly, it's not suddenly, then I have this third activity. So they will arrange in this stack. Okay, what is it mean by this last statement just now? Last in, first out. Last in, first out, as in the last activity here that I have is activity three. Okay, activity three. So okay, this one is the one just now. So when the user press the back button, okay, the current activity which is currently is on the top activity three, the last in. This is last in, first out. That's why for activity three will be the first one is going to pop out from the stack. Okay, and previous activity resumes. So this is the concept of this activity. Okay, lastly, after the third activity pop out, the activity to resume. And then once the user press the back button again, when they press the back button again, it's going to be with here, activity one in the process. Okay, they destroy here, they destroy activity three. That's why they pop out the activity three from the stack. And then when the user press the back button again, there will be only one activity left here, which is activity one. Activity two has been destroyed from this stack. Okay, so this is the process. Last in, first out. So here, okay, I want to give you time to do this question around what is the main purpose of an activity. I will assign this, so we will discuss here in this class too. This one I will assign to Noel. Listening. Yeah. So I have this four question. I give you around 5 minutes, and then you share your answer, and we will discuss here. Yeah. 9:55. So first question is Noel. In the context of Android, what is the main purpose of an activity? And then why it's important to declare activity in the manifest file. Manifest file is the metadata file that I mentioned just now. And then what is the data structure used by Android to manage component of an app? Ivan, what will happen to an activity if a user navigates away from it? Navigates away. Navigates away as in the user press back. This one just now actually press the back button. So what will happen to that current activity? The answer already explained this now. This one is lim. So I give you until 9:55 and we will discuss. Okay. So yeah, let's wait for your friend or other student. If you want to answer too, okay, then we will discuss. Yeah, so it's already 9:55. So the first question here, in the context of Android, what is the main purpose of an activity? So this one is a correct answer by Noel. So it is, sorry, an activity provides the window in which the app draws its UI. Okay, that's mean like I mentioned, how they are going to present to the user, the UI. Okay, the interface. Okay, this one is correct. And then why it is important to declare an activity in the manifest file. Manifest file is the consists the metadata file just now. So why it is important? Celine, this one is your part. Celine, Celine, what do you think, Celine? I think Celine is away from the work. However, it's okay. I'll answer question number 2. Okay. Why it is important to declare activity in the manifest file? Where is Celine? So here, so that the apps, the permission that the apps need to access the activity. Actually, yeah, the word, the statement is basically, it is important anything we want to declare, anything that we want to declare in the manifest file, so that have a the application have like permission to access to the activity. Okay, so this is why we need to declare in the manifest file. So remember again, manifest file is the metadata file. And then what is the structure? Sorry, what is the data structure used by Android to manage component of an app? Ivan, what's your answer, Ivan? Why did I say? I think it's not here. Oh, my bad. I didn't check. Oh, Rachel, what do you think, Rachel? Answer for number 3. What is the data structure used by Android to manage component of an app? And then question number 2, what will happen? This one I explain. What will happen to an activity if a user navigates away from it? Lim. Lim is here. Lim is not here. So for question number 3 and number 4, what is the answer? Anyone? Stack. I think stack is question number 4, right? Yeah, stack. It will be popped out, destroy from the stack. This one. Basically, this is the process. Okay. What will happen to an activity if a user navigates away from it? That means when the user press the back button, what will happen? Okay. It will be destroyed from the stack. Okay. It will remove or it will destroy from the stack. So question number 3, what is the data structure used by Android to manage component of an app? This one I give you 2 minutes. Who I want to sign this one? Ian, I give you Ian or anyone. What's the answer for this? three stack. Okay, three stack. What you mentioned. So basically, this is the answer of this question. Okay. So question number 3, stack. And then question number 4 is this one, remove or destroy from the stack. Okay. So, sorry, Rachel. So yeah. Wait, let me copy. I think all already shared. Yeah. So here, intent. So I think before we move to the next part, intent, what is intent? Let's have a break around 13 minutes. So we will continue at 10 in AM. Okay, we will start with this part intent. Okay, see you at 10:15 AM. Hi. So let's continue. So please raise your hand if you are here. So I know. Thank you. Okay. So let's start with intent. So what is intent? Okay. Intent is used to start an activity or to perform any action on screen. And we use intent to for communication between components. Okay. So basically there are two types of intent, which is explicit and implicit. So the explicit, we use explicit to start a component in your own app. So you need to supply a target app's package name or fully qualified component class name. And then for implicit, okay, declare a general action to perform which allow a component from another app to handle it. Like I said just now, we use intent. We use intent for like communication between two component. Okay, from component A to component B. So for this one too, I found a YouTube video. Oh, better this one around 5 minutes. Yeah, I've shared you the link. So please go and let's take 5 minutes to watch this video.
Hey, what's up guys, welcome back. This is Dinesh here, and in this video I'll explain you what is an intent and the importance of it. But before I start explaining you what's an intent, let me first explain you the concept of an activity. Now, many of you may know what is an activity, but for understanding intent, it is important to understand the activity first. Now, suppose you create a simple Hello World application which consists of a single page, and if you show this application to a non-programmer, then for him, this is an application which consists of a single page. But as Android developers, instead of calling this a page, we call this an activity. So according to me, this is an Android app which consists of a single activity made up of two main files, mainActivity.java and activitymain.xml. So if you have an application which consists of 3 pages, then in technical terms, your application consists of 3 activities. Now, if you have 3 activities inside your application, then you need some component to communicate between these activities, or you need some component to jump from one activity to another activity. So to communicate between one activity to another activity, we use a component called as intent. So guys, after understanding what's an activity, let's talk about intent. So intent is a messaging object you can use to request an action from another app component. Intent facilitates communication between components. Intents are of two types, explicit intent and implicit intent. So first, let's look at what is an explicit intent. An intent is called as explicit intent when you want to communicate between two activities inside the same application, or if you want to jump from one activity to another activity inside the same application. And intent is called as implicit intent when you want to communicate between two activities but from different applications. For example, suppose you have two applications inside your smartphone. One is an email application and second is a web browsing application. Both the applications have the individual activities as you can see over here. Now, if you click on the URL link inside this email app, then this link will now open inside a web browser as it is an URL link. If you have two web browsing applications inside your smartphone, then we can use intent for calling a chooser component, meaning it will ask you a question. You want to open this URL using which web browser if you have two different web browsers. So we use explicit intent when we want to communicate between two activities inside the same application, and we use implicit intent when we want to communicate between two activities inside different applications. So intents are basically used to start an activity. Intents are also used to start a service. Intents are also used to pass a data from one activity to another activity inside the same application. In this case, as you can see, if the user types the username and password inside the edit text, Then, on the press of a button, this data will be stored and passed to the next activity and displayed over there using intents. Intents are also used for broadcasting a message. If suppose your phone has a low battery, then your Android operating system will pass a message to all the application saying that the battery is low, and the other application will receive this message via the broadcast receiver. And this communication between the OS and the application is carried out by intents. So guys, I hope from this video you would have got a clear idea of what is an intent, what are their types, and where are they used. So guys, that's it from this video. If you found this video helpful, please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel for learning Android from scratch. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Yes, Noel.
Oh yeah, what's your name?
So, have you watched the video? I want to ask just now the video. Do you not related to the content? Do you notice? I'm not sure if you ever search any video that related to technology, but usually, right, when we search any video, for example, this video just now, mostly it is from, from which country those people? Indian, yeah, they are Indian from India. Indian from India. Yeah, they are real Indian from India. For information too, even in Malaysia, right, in our industry, I'm talking about industry, for a big company, we need to compete with them, the Indian from India. Okay, why? Because they are, I don't know, maybe for some reason they are good with technology, they are good with this thing that we are doing. So yeah, they are good. Actually, I've read from my reading, but this one is years ago. Actually, these people, because they don't have enough money, just because of money, they actually can, if they have enough money, if they have enough yeah, enough money, they can build one operating system, and they can compete with Bill Gates, right? Is it the name Bill Gates? Yeah, they can compete with Bill Gates with the OS. Actually, these people are very smart. So they are our competitor within our own country. So if you go to big company, like me myself, I went to UOB, right? For some reason, at some point, I literally thought that I am in India because too many people, those people, and they're smart for your information. Okay, so back to the video just now. Okay, it explained about intent. So I believe you already have some basic idea what is intent. So intent here in this lecture note, it stated that it is used to start an activity. So basically we use intent for like what I said just now. We use intent to communicate between component, either between the same application or two different application. So here we have explicit and implicit. Okay, for explicit, we are going to do the intent is going to communicate within the same application. But for implicit, it is two different application. Okay, so explicit and implicit. So intent, okay, let's take intent as a package. So an intent carries the following information that the Android system used to perform the action. Okay, function of intent is another one, is to perform an action, perform an activity. Okay, so uh the thing I mentioned just now, package, let's take them as a package for now. So under this package, they have the component name. Okay, what component that you want to, what is the component that you want to have the communication first, and then action, what is the process or what is the action activity that you need them to perform, and then the data needed, category, and any other extra thing that needed for the communication to occur. Okay, so first we are going to see at the name. Okay, component name. Okay, we need to know, sorry, the system, the application need to know what is the component that will involve. So first is component name. So the exact name of the component to start. Okay, and then use the explicit intent to launch another activity within an app. So remember, explicit, it is a communication between the component with the same application. Okay, so when starting a service, always specify the component name for better security. So there's another concern, security. Okay, but actually name is very important so that they know which is the yeah, of course name is very important. If not, how this application know which component involved or what is the targeted component. So the first part is component name. Okay, second is action. Like I said, action is operation function, what they need to do. So it determines how the rest of the intent. I thought someone's talking. So it determines how the rest of the intent is structured, data and the extra. Okay, and this is the common example, view or send. So it is an action, it is a task, what this component need to do. Next is the data needed. Okay, you don't have to memorize this. So the uniform resources identify the URI that refers the data to be acted on and or the multipurpose internet mail extension type of the data. Okay, this one is the data needed for the communication to occur between the application or even within the same application. So here we have example of action from the previous slide. Just now we have view and send. Okay, so for example here, under this action view, we have 4 data that we need to attach together. Okay, and then the send function. Okay, this is my text to send. Okay, basically this is like the data, what data needed for the communication. And then category. Okay, for category, actually we have many category. If you go to Google, there are many category for intent, for the communication. So it is an optional, additional information about the kind of component that should be handle the intent. That component, sorry, what kind of component that should handle the communication. Okay, I'll take it. Sorry. Yeah, we take it intent as the communication. Okay, either between the same application or different application. So here are the common categories. Like I said, actually there are many categories. So here the first one we have category browsable. Browsable, that's mean this one will this category, the for example, let's say the user click on a link, so it will browse or it will respond to the user by browsing. Same goes to category launcher. This one is another category. Okay, so this one is an optional. Next is extra. Extra is anything that related or anything that needed for the communication. So here, key value pairs that carry additional information required to accomplish the requested action. Requested action here is referring to the, we go back to the the basic concept of intent. Intent is like for the activity or communication or the process. Okay, so here we have key value pairs. Okay, we have two examples here. So use the put extra key value method to insert data to an intent. Okay, method. This one is a method to insert any data. And then use get to retrieve data from intent. So we can insert and we can retrieve. We can add and we can get back the data that we send to the intent or from the intent. Okay, this one is like additional to actually. Yeah, stated here. Okay, additional information. Not necessary we have this one. Uh, yeah, so this one is intent explicit. So remember, intent explicit activity between the component in the same application. Okay, so currently I have two activity that is not yet related. That means there's no connection yet. Excuse me. Okay, as you can see, same application, like I said, between the same application, within the same application. So here I have activity A. So activity A, the create and intent. This one is the last one. Okay, so we have two activity actually. So activity A, the create and intent. Okay, intent is needed for the communication between the activity. So here is our system. Here is our system, Android system. So Android system search all components of app that match the intent. Okay, the package just now. Here referring to the here this point is referring to the package, the one I mentioned just now with the component name, the additional information, the data. Okay, they're going to do some back process here in this part. That's why it's stated here of search all components of an app that match the intent. Match the intent referring to the package just now. So if once the process done, it's going to start the process. So the system start the matching activity. So they know which activity or which is the targeted activity. Okay, so they are linked or they are connected to this activity B based on the intent. Okay, that match the intent. Match the intent is this one, this now package, patch number 14. Yeah, patch number 14 just now. So they are going to process based on that intent. Okay, so now activity A and activity B, they have the communication already. Okay, so basically intent is very important. The data, the information that we store, any additional information, or even the component name just now, it's very important. This is where they're going to use. So this is where the process occurs so that this system, our Android system, know which one is the targeted activity. Okay, so this one is for intent explicit. Intent explicit, remember again, it is the same activity within the same application. So here is the example. Okay, intent explicit. This one is for email, compose email. Okay, this one is in the same application. That means from this activity, go to this activity to compose the email. Next is intent explicit. So intent explicit. So start another activity by calling this function. Okay, passing it an intent that describe the activity you want to start. Okay, passing what is the targeted activity? What do you intend to start? Okay, so here is my function. Yep, here is my function. Intent is equal to this function. Just now from the previous example, just now is compose activity, email compose, and then start activity. Okay, start another activity by calling this function and passing it an intent. Okay, so an intent carries data from one activity to another using this extra. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, because the concept of intent is from one activity to another activity, the communication between the activity. So they are going to carry the data. They're going to carry the data from the start activity. Okay, so they use this extra function. I always say function, right? They're using this extra. Okay, so here extra message and extra value. Uh, okay, this one is the function again. Okay, display message activity, apply extra message. Okay, so to receive data from the activity, use the intents get method to capture the data. Okay, so get the intent that started this activity and extract the string using this get method. This one, intent.get string extra. So this is the message, extra message. Okay, next is implicit. So the concept here is just remember, we have two type of intent, implicit and explicit. Explicit just now is within the same application. Okay, now as you can see the difference between the slide number, I don't remember the number of slide. Slide number 20 here. This one just now within the same application for explicit. Now implicit. Okay, so for implicit, it is the activity between two different application. So yeah, this is, as you can see, I have activity, but this one is from application A, and I have this activity, but this one is in another application, which is application B. Okay, so again, we start same with the first process in the explicit just now. Activity A, creates an intent. Okay, same with the, I'll go with this one. Okay, so same with the explicit explicit intent just now. So this activity A create an intent to like send a request for any communication. And then again, we have this Android system. Okay, Android system search all app for the intent, filter that match the intent, referring to the package again. From the package, what they receive, they're going to process. So here, match or not. This one is like if match, yes, they're going to do the process. They're going to start the other process. If not, then app crash. It's not really crash. They're going to send back. They're going to bounce back the request. Okay, so the third one here, the system start the matching activity. This one will only process, the third one is will be only processed if they pass this process just now. This process is actually from the intent, the component name, the data, okay, the action. So they're going to this one. Basically, if you notice, it is the same except for this part, yes or no part, and then it is within two different application. Okay. So here we have an example. This one is a contact browser, contact editorial contact. Okay, as you can see, just now from the explicit, it is from the Gmail, right? Yeah, it is from the Gmail. Same, uh, same application. Here is implicit. Now this one is, I'm not sure what application. However, when the user click on this one, it will retrieve this function. That means it's going to open another application, which is Gmail. Yeah, which is Gmail. The first one is, I'm not sure what is this. I think this one is online, Star Online, uh, newspaper. Okay, so this one is another application. This one is another application. Basically, that's the example. From this application for implicit function, they are going to call another application. Communication or activity between two different application. Okay. So this is the code, okay? The code to call the function. So here, the first one, action send. The intent does not have the URIs to declare the MIME type, okay? And then this one is the target, okay? The target, target application, okay? So intent, extra mail, extra subject, text stream. Okay, this one is the target, which is the recipient. From the previous slide just now, when the user click on the one of the name, maybe John, okay, anything with example here, okay, when the user click, that means it's going to call that application, targeted application. Okay, so here is the continue from the previous page just now. Okay, map point based on the address here. URI number, intent, call, dial number. This one is another information, the phone number. Okay. The first two line here is the phone number. And then this one, value, calling, intent, action, dial. As this one is a number 2. So map point based on address. Another information. And then that attitude address. Okay. Yeah, basically it's like another calling this field. Yeah, calling the field. Okay, intent implicit. So if multiple intent filter are compatible, that means they can go with each other. The system display a dialog so the user can pick which app to use. Okay, as you can see here, this one, I believe you guys are familiar with this. If you click, another example, if you click, let's say I send you a link. Yeah, let's say I send you a link in WhatsApp. Okay, maybe it's YouTube. So we are using WhatsApp and YouTube for implicit because two different application. Okay, I send you a link. They will pop up like this message to ask you to select which application that you want to use. So here they have Chrome, our browser, internet, and link bubble. Okay, so this one is what's compatible with the link that I sent just now, for example. So here is different type of browser, search engine. Okay, different type of search engine that we can choose. So it is possible that a user won't have any apps that's under the implicit intent. Yeah, correct. Not, for example, I send you a link to another from WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp, I sent you a link to Telegram. Yeah, a Telegram group link, for example. Okay, it is possible that you don't have a Telegram application in your mobile. So verify that the intent will resolve to an activity, and then inform user. Okay, so this is a process. Okay, to start that activity, but sometimes the user, no, it's not the user. Sometimes when they click on the link, right, the link will tell us, or they will lead us, maybe they will ask us to download that application that we don't have. Okay, if not, we cannot go to the application. So here is another version of API for app targeting API level 30 and above. Declare your app's need increase package visibility using this query element in the manifest file again. Okay, why again? Why we need this manifest file? So that we can have access. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3 browser, camera, gallery. Yeah. So they need access to your this uh this what we call this browser, camera, gallery. They need access to this thing in your phone. Okay. So what is the difference? Sorry, what is the main difference between explicit and implicit intent? What is the difference? This one I want you to answer. I want you to answer. We have around 12 more minutes. Yeah, before I assign, what is the difference between explicit and implicit? I think I mentioned a few times. Kelvin Sharp, what is the difference? This one is Kelvin. And then among explicit, to share the website of URL. Daniel. Again. Jeremiah. So, yeah. So first question, Kelvin, what do you think? What's the difference between explicit and implicit? If you don't want to type, if you're lazy to type, you might turn on your microphone. Anyone? What's the difference? I give you until 10.
The
Oh, it's okay.
the explicit is something is very clear and or stated. Implicit is implied but not stated. Do I type it?
Okay. Thank you, Kelvin Sharp. Let me type here. Okay, the main difference is between the application, actually. So, explicit. Oh, explicit is when um, MP. This is the main difference actually. Explicit, it is the activity or communication between the same application. But for implicit, it is activity or communication between different application. So that's the difference. Okay, Kelvin. Next is among explicit and implicit intent, which one is suitable for each of the following tasks? So to share a website URL. This one, Daniel. Daniel, what do you think this one, Daniel? Explicit or implicit? Just change this now. Anyone? Opinion on this? Share website URL. Google. You Google this answer, right, Kelvin? I know this. No. This is not the answer, Kelvin. This one is more to, yeah, this is not the answer. In this context, this is the answer that I provide. I will good try, Kelvin. Thank you. So for question number 2, what is the student? Anyone want to volunteer? I'm not sure where's Daniel. Daniel is AFK. He is here, but he is not here. To be explicit, it's to be. Oh, yeah. This one is to listen to explicit between SAM application. I think this one, right, should be implicit. Why I say so? You say explicit. Why I say so? Because to be, to share a website URL. To share a website URL, it's a link. So if it is a link, okay, for example, just now, this is my link, right? Okay, sorry. This one should be implicit because if I share my link, they should pop up a few message. Sorry, it's not message. They should suggest us what is the application that we want to open. Okay, so this one should be X. And then to listen audio from the internet explicit. I believe this one is implicit because if I download, I need to have usually when we download something, a file into our phone, right, it will ask us to open using any. This one is implicit. This one is implicit. This one is implicit. Yeah. So, but Miss, to base, if say music player, then can be explicit. Explicit, I open within the same application. To listen to an audio file. To listen to an audio file. If I download and then I open. Why you say explicit? It retrieve. Let's say if you have two different application, two different music player application. You can choose, right? Same with question number 1A. If say from file system, the app, then explicit. Oh, okay, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, however, it is very important for you to know the concept. First question is very important, the main difference between explicit and implicit. Okay, then you know how to apply based on the context. Correct, I do agree with you, different context. Okay, so I believe we have 5 more minutes. So we have another session in the afternoon. So we will stop at this batch today. So many students in this class is away from keyboard in my class. It's okay. So before we dismiss, is there any question? If not, I'm going to see you after this session. Okay, so thank you for your attendance and your attention as well. So see you in the afternoon. Thank you, class, and bye-bye.